Welcome to yet another episode of The Speaking Citizen. I am your host, Mehru Jafar. I bring to you creative members of society like actors, poets, writers, and film personalities. Today, our guest is very special. She is Vera Wessel, all the way in far away Germany. A warm welcome to you, Vera. Vera edits Germany's only Bollywood film magazine called Ishq. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vera. The story of Europe's love affair with Bollywood can be traced back to perhaps the early 2000s, with the start of an entertainment channel on German television. To cater to its very large Turkish population that loves Bollywood, the channel chose to telecast Bollywood films. The rights of several Yash Raj Chopra films from the production company's London office were bought and the films dubbed into German. Once a week, when Bollywood films were screened, the traffic came to a standstill as audiences were glued to the TV screen. Surprisingly, everyone who watched Bollywood cinema then was not necessarily of Turkish origin. The first film to be screened was Kabhi Khushi, Kabhi Gham, that created a colorful storm in the largely black and white life of most Europeans. And the rest, as they say, is history. That overnight craze for Bollywood cinema resulted in numerous fan clubs, love for Indian food, henna and bangles, Bollywood-style clothing, music, dance, and the magazine Ishq. There was a fan club called the Shah Rukhis, and Bollywood was introduced as a subject in the Ethnic Studies Department of Vienna University. What news, Vera, of the Bollywood fever these days in Central Europe? Tell us, is Shah Rukh Khan still hero number one in your part of the world?
Definitely. I can tell you that anytime we share a story online that features Shah Rukh Khan, the hits and the comments and likes get up way beyond anything else. So this is still what people knew, because it is correct that I think in 2003, 2004, it was that the films were screened in Germany. There was one channel that brought them to free TV, and it got dubbed into German, so that was what people knew. And these, unfortunately though, these were the films that were repeated over the years all the time. It's like Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, of course, and then a few others. But somehow it didn't really catch on that we got like regular releases or something like this. So the craze for Bollywood and Shah Rukh Khan did go down a bit because I think the industry changed, tastes changed, and they didn't really change for our audience. So I think what people found in these films, they still want to see in these films. We still have a core fan base that still watch the new films and everything, but we're not into, it's not as mainstream as it used to be. I mean, it's still small, and yeah, I think maybe it will come back eventually, because people still know these films, but they haven't seen anything in a long time, not on free TV in Germany. So, and DVDs also aren't releasing anymore. So now it's all,
is no longer screening Bollywood cinema.
Very rarely. We had one repetition of Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham this year, but there was a rare occasion, I think, that some fans celebrated, but others were also tired of it, I think, and didn't want to tune in again for the same film over and over. So this isn't happening anymore that much. And also, like, everything is happening on Netflix and Amazon Prime these days. So DVDs also haven't worked in a while. it's a new market for us, and we're still trying to figure out how to tell people what to watch and what they can actually watch. And a lot of them still want to see films dubbed into German, also the Turkish community, but also everyone else, you know. So that is a little bit our issue at the moment. but
everybody else came as a surprise, didn't they? The television channel wasn't expecting such a positive response from the Caucasian Europeans. You know,
yes,
they were mainly catering to the Turkish Germans of Turkish origin. But
yeah,
surprisingly, all of you went crazy about Bollywood.
True, but it wasn't a channel that was targeting the Turkish community. It was a regular mainstream channel that sometimes also shows different things. They also showed like Japanese anime, for instance, or stuff like this. That was a little bit out of the box. So these were the kind of films that could run on Prime TV over there, prime time to TV at like 8 o'clock. So and they had a huge audience, and after that the DVD sales also went up. They were really, really, really good for a while.
Isn't it true that there was a moment before Ishq, before more information was exchanged between European fans of Bollywood cinema with Bollywood, that a lot of people in Central Europe felt that, you know, the only actor in Bollywood is Shah Rukh Khan. There's Shah Rukh Khan means Bollywood, and Bollywood means Shah Rukh Khan. They didn't realize that there are, you know, thousands of other actors as well. Is that true?
It's definitely true. I mean, even after these films aired, it got even more like this. I mean, Shah Rukh Khan represents Bollywood and Indian cinema generally, and then in Germany, I think. And also, there was actually an Indian channel which was called Z1. It came, I think, in 2015 or something, and for 3 or 4 years, it was on the air. And Shah Rukh Khan was also like an ambassador for that channel, and he also came when it started, when the launch was one time. So yeah, he's very important to us. He also came to the Berlinale a couple of times. He had a couple of events in Germany, so that's also what the fans over here remember, like interacting with him, and this also, I mean, also the journalists and write about it, and it was always a lot of passion for this actor in particular, but our readers know others as well. It's just that for most of them, he's their favorite, definitely.
But for, I think over 2 decades, you know, he's consistently been so popular with all of you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think every time, even if a film didn't do so well, they still were just happy to see him. And even, I mean, even the new films. So now that he's been away for like 4 or 5 years, we've had a bit of trouble with the magazine because we can't write so much about him all the time, and we don't want to make things up, you know. So but yeah, there were still a lot of fans who still followed the films and were just waiting for him to come back also, I think.
So what news of the Shah Rukhis? You know, this club or group of ardent.
There are a lot of groups, actually.
Are they alive and kicking like in the past?
Yeah, there are definitely still fan clubs. I think not just in Vienna. There's also there are a couple of others. I don't see that much activity nowadays. I'm not sure if they aren't that active online anymore. Maybe things have changed a little bit. There used to be a huge community online with forums and stuff, but with Facebook and all social media stuff, this kind of disappeared a little bit to some extent, and people aren't as active anymore. People aren't talking about these films anymore that much because, I mean, like I said, this was mainstream in the 2000s also, and stuff was easily available for them. And it's not like that anymore. They have to look for it. They have to search for it. It's not that easy to find films anymore. And a lot of them still like the older films and are into the the stars that were famous then. It's not just Shah Rukh Khan, it's like Kajol, Rani Mukherjee, and all these actors, you know? So these are still, even like the women, they're also a lot more popular still with our crowd than they are in India, I think. So that is a little different.
Going back to the early 2000, why do you think Europe went so crazy about Bollywood?
I mean, I can say for the Germans, it's like, I remember that I talked to my mother, and the first film we watched was obviously one of the Karan Johar ones that were on TV then. And I've never seen my mother cry when she was watching a film or something like this. And it happened there. And I think this was an experience that a lot of them had. And me too, to some extent, I think, not especially with this film, but with others. There is more, we are not used to letting out emotions, you know? And I think these films connected because of that, because seeing people show emotions on screen, you kind of can't help, I don't know, crying or laughing also with them and feeling good about this, you know? So this is, I think, what people got from these films. It was different. It was a different experience for a lot of us. So we enjoyed this, and this was something that we didn't see in other films at all. I mean, German cinema is very, yeah, a little bit more reserved, and especially also the popular stars. It's very different.
Also, I think what Europeans perhaps appreciated were the strong familial bonds between mother and child, the lovers, of course, and between sisters and brothers. And I think these very emotional moments that Bollywood highlights in its stories went, opened up the reserve and the concealed emotions of the European audiences. Don't you think so?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, generally, I think people, like you said, people were very interested in Indian culture and the way that, and a lot of that is really the fact that family is such an important factor in our lives. And I think it is in our lives as well, but we kind of, there's a little bit more individualism and stuff like this, but I see that with my friends nowadays also. You need like families to support you at some point, and I think we see that in Indian films, and we could connect with that and see that this is something that we wanted. I think a lot of the fans of these films really liked that part of it, definitely. And I think this is also one of the reasons why nowadays films are a little bit different, because that changed a little bit maybe, but yeah, it's still there. It's still a lot more than it is in our films, a lot more important.
But as you and Ishq might have noticed, some very dark and depressive cinema has come out of Bollywood in recent times, full of hate and violence, replacing all the color and love and goodness that was appreciated so much in the Bollywood movies in the past. Has that turned fans in Europe away from Bollywood, or are they watching these very sad films, bad and sad films?
I mean, yeah, it's difficult. I think, yeah, that doesn't connect to the old audience at all. I think it's interesting because there is, of course, an audience for different kind of films. There's always been this audience, people who watch different kind of films from India, but it's not the kind that has a mainstream following, I think. And it's very difficult for us to find, to kind of balance it, find the stuff that is still works with our audience. It's still there, it's fine. But the other films, we're also talking about this. We're doing interviews and sometimes, yeah, we do get feedback on this, and people are very interested in what is happening. And but yeah, there used to be a more hopeful approach, I would say. It's okay to see real problems in films these days, and you know, representation from all parts of the country is also interesting to us. But of course, yeah, we have to find a new audience if we want to get the darker films to be seen. And that is a bit of a challenge, I have to say. And also, yeah, the hateful stuff. I mean, this is if we see something like this is of course not for a foreigner. This is nothing that, yeah, pulls you in and makes you want to see more. You can understand, maybe.
Yeah. And what about Ishq? How is it doing? Has the circulation been steady or declined, or do you have more buyers and readers of the magazine Ishq? Tell us a little bit about Ishq.
Yeah, so we were founded when it was still at the craze, I think in the 2006. But it was already going down. I think it was already kind of played out through the channels. This was already a time when there were less and less films being shown because it was getting repetitive, I think. So our problem was from the beginning to kind of make people understand that there's not just one one side of Indian cinema, that there's a much bigger diversity in it, but that didn't really work.
Yeah.
So it's still, people are still looking for like these family films, like romance stories and stuff like this, and we don't get a lot of these days. So of course the readership declined. But we're doing fine. It's been steady over the years, and I think we have a core readership that supports us and supported us through the very, very difficult pandemic. I mean, we've had paper prices going up and everything got very expensive, and we managed to somehow make it cheaper for subscribers, even because we said, oh, okay, we have to do something. So we went bi-monthly now, and we're doing digital editions in between so that people don't get bored. And we're doing a lot more online to get also new viewers interested, and we're doing a podcast as well to get new people into Indian cinema and understand more what's behind these films and you know, the backdrop of them and everything like this. So this is what we're doing.
A lot of film goers like myself have moved from the 2-hour big screen movies made in Bollywood to the small screen and to the OTT, which is giving us, wonderful content and lovely acting. The same actors, for like Sonakshi Sinha, for example, was quite mediocre on the big screen. Done a marvelous job in a web series called The Hard. So, is there a shift also in the European audience from the big screen to watching Bollywood work on the small screen?
Yeah, I think this is still growing. We're working towards that because we see there's a lot of potential, actually. Also because these films and these shows, I mean, this is on Prime Video, so everyone can watch it. Other shows like Jubilee and what was the one before that? I don't know. Some even got dubbed into German. Farsi also. So these things are available nowadays, but they don't really pull the audience from earlier, I think. So this is not really. I mean, some of them, of course, some of our readers I know also enjoy these new shows. But it's not yet where it can be, I think. So we have to do a lot and promote them a little bit more and make people aware that this is happening. at all. But I think there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think over the last couple of years, the film industry changed a lot and in interesting directions. And I think there's a lot of experimenting going on, and it's only getting better like every year, I think, because people know what they can do now. And yeah, so I think there are a lot of opportunities to get more like these shows, and also get them seen and make them find an audience over here.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much, Vera. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us time at The Citizen. Bye-bye.
Bye.